Happy Friday. We have a new nom. No, we have a new HOH. We're about to have new noms, which means we have a lot to talk about. That's what we're going to do right now. Last night's feeds, today's feeds. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. It's very, very helpful. Yeah, and we will just get into it. It's been fun. You guys, it's been fun. How are you guys having fun? That's right. We got a three-headed monster. We got some, we got new HOH running this show, you guys. Even with the feeds being down so much for the wild card comp, and now it's down for the noms, still amazing feeds. And it started last night when the feeds came back after the West Coast airing. People were already worked up. Apparently, Frenchie lost his mind. I mean, are we surprised? But he started to spiral as soon as maybe it was Travis. We did hear that Travis, started to stir the pot right before the live eviction. So maybe that's when it started. But what we have learned since is that obviously there were two rogue votes that we talked about last night, and Frenchie just came out and said, yeah, I orchestrated that. Derek F, what's the word? Why do I not have words? He volunteered the information that he was one of them. And Frenchie said the other one doesn't want to admit who they were. So obviously his alliance Slaughterhouse is like, what? Everybody else is just like, what are you doing? He just started to lose his mind. Today, we had a wild card comp that Frenchie very much wanted to play, wanted to win. Being the paranoid person that he is, he all last night was like, I'm playing, I'm winning. He even so much as told Hannah and Christian, I'm going to stack it so that I win. Going in with his intimidation like he does. And then this morning, he all of a sudden had a new idea, and he was like, ooh, if we tell people that Brittany's going to play on his team instead of him, then that will help Brent and Xavier on the other teams not play. And then the girls will just volunteer to play, and I'll beat them. And they'll never see it coming, he said. As if you weren't just telling everybody that you were going to play and that you're going to win. But now they'll never see it coming. So he only got to tell one person, and that was Xavier. He said, Brittany's going to play. And Xavier said, oh, does she not feel safe? And Frenchie goes, oh, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's just if Whitney and Alyssa are going to play, then might as well let the ladies battle it out. And I was like, nobody buys this, Frenchie. Nobody buys it. Wild card is a comp for safety. So why would people play who don't feel like they need to play for safety? You've already told everyone that you're paranoid and you want to play. Made no sense, but thank goodness production was like, we're not going to delay this anymore. Feeds go down for wild card comp. He didn't get to really do this strategy with other people. And when the feeds came back, you guys, Lomas Sarah Beth beat Frenchie and Brent. Those were the three playing. Sarah Beth won. She beat them both. Frenchie is not safe. Brent is not safe. So now, though, the stipulation for this win, this wild card comp win, Sarah was given, if you want safety, you will go over to the Queen's team and take one of their spots, which means Tiffany or Claire, being the only two available people on that team, would move over and take Sarah Beth's spot on her team and therefore not be safe. That's how the risk and reward worked for this wild card comp. And Sarah Beth rightfully said, oh, I would never do that to Tiffany and Claire. Oh, I just couldn't do that to them. Parentheses, she's 100% safe. She and Kyland have a final two. They're very, very close. They tell each other everything. She is not in danger, but this was a great way for her to still play it off. So it wasn't like she was like, no, I don't need safety. I'll just tough it out. She said, she was like, oh gosh, Tiffany and Claire making that, like, that doesn't feel right. I won't do that. So nothing basically changed then, right? No one has extra safety, but that means everyone is still up and available for noms. Way to go. Like, when I heard that, we knew Frenchie was going to play, but when I heard Brent played, because his team was just going to do random draw, they didn't care. Unless that changed and maybe he did care and wanted to play. Yeah, she was going to be safe. But, oh my God, I was like, girl, you beat Brent and Frenchie? That gives me life. We love to hear it. And the paranoia is just spinning inside Frenchie even more. Okay, let's get into our one-on-ones because Kyland had a very specific plan. Last night, when he got his HOH room, exactly, they can't play again. That was it. No, Heather, I do not know what the comp was. I have not heard them describe the comp. Okay, Kyland last night when he got the HOH room, he had very specific rules. Is he from a military family? Like, this felt very military to me. I don't know. Maybe this is just who he is. But he was like, I'm going to have 5-minute one-on-ones. I'm going to time it. And the next person is going to have to be in charge of the time. And he has very strict, organizational, organization to the whole one-on-ones and everything. And he didn't want to talk last night, but Alyssa was very upset about that. And she said, Slaughterhouse has to talk. They have to clear the air. She was very upset about the rogue votes. She got 2 votes against her. She doesn't understand why Frenchie was involved in this. There was a lot of people frustrated with Frenchie last night. Even Brent was like, what is he doing? Brent is trying to keep the Slaughterhouse together. It is all he cares about. And Frenchie is just screwing it up. And he's like, what is going on? Christian was frustrated with it. Alyssa was frustrated with Frenchie. But Alyssa was like, we have to have a Slaughterhouse meeting tonight. We have to get on the same page here. And so they did it they just did it broken up. They did it kind of by team. So Alyssa and Christian came in and then DF and Xavier, they just kind of came in little chunks. But they were basically they didn't really resolve anything or get to tell Kyland how to run his HOH, which is really the most important thing here, right? Kyland told them how he was going to run it. He was like, I'm not going to tell anyone they're safe. I don't want anyone to he didn't want it to backfire, but he also didn't want people scurrying around and talking. He was like, so I'm not telling anyone they're safe. He did tell a couple people, but at least the Slaughterhouse kind of got the idea of we don't get to tell him who to nominate. And we don't get verbal confirmation here that we're all safe. And they all were like, okay, we understand. It's good that you're not, trying to get things blown back on you, trying to be messy like Frenchie was last week. They're going along with it. So that was great. That didn't really influence him. Last night, there was also some really great talk with Tiffany and Claire, and then eventually Derek X got in on it, and they could really like map out the house. They're really seeing the other side of the house and kind of formulated like, we need to take the other side of the house. We need to make a new group, which are these other people who are not hanging out with Whitney and Brent and Frenchie all the time. Obviously, they don't have it perfect because they're not sure exactly where Kyland fits in there. They're not really sure that how Derek F and Xavier fit in there. That area is sort of gray, but they do have a pretty good picture of the structure of the other side of the house. So I was really excited that Tiffany and Claire might have a big part in this HOH. And Kyland even asked them to sleep with him last night. He said he didn't want to sleep by himself the first night in the HOH, and he offered his bed to Tiffany and Claire could sleep in that together, and he'd sleep on the couch. And they both turned him down. And I was a little disappointed that just for strategy, at least one of them, if they didn't both want to, one of them should have spent the night with him so that they could just like subtly, plant some seeds, but they didn't. So after the feeds come back after the wild card comp, Kyland's like, we gotta go. Everyone gets 5 minutes. Let's go. And he like whipped them into shape, and they come in, and you guys, one after the other, just to throw in Frenchie under the bus. I did not see this coming where Slaughterhouse was turning on themselves already, but they are soups annoyed with Frenchie. Not only did he plan these 2 rogue votes against someone in their alliance, they're upset about that, but then today, apparently this comes out in the one-on-ones, Frenchie walked into a room with several people in it, but Whitney is one of them. And he pointed at Whitney and he said, I'm done. That's it. I'm done talking about the other side of the house. He said something about the other side of the house. I'm done. And Whitney was like, whoa, first off, you're coming at me real hot here, but there is a room full of people, and are you outing our alliance to this room full of people? So she also told, Brent and like Alyssa and like other people, like, oh my gosh, he just did this. Like, she's really frustrated about it. But she also told Kyland all about this in her one-on-one. Again, they only got 5 minutes. Like, he's timing them and like cutting. He's like, I'm not going to say anything. You say. He's pretty talkative, so he does say a few things. But they basically are like, okay, so here's the things that Frenchie's done, and we just can't trust him. And he's like, okay, so Whitney comes in first. She's throwing Frenchie under the bus with the story. Then Sarah Beth comes in. They're super, super close. And she's just like, you know what, whatever you want to do, I'm going to support you. Let me just tell you, though, Frenchie, he is erratic. Like you can't trust him. Just by the way, yada, yada, Frenchie. So then she leaves. Then Alyssa comes in and she's like, Frenchie knew about the rogue votes. Like, we can't trust him. Like, what's going on? He's ruining our alliance. So much anti-Frenchie stuff from people who are supposedly aligned with him. I don't understand why he would break up with the Slaughterhouse when a Slaughterhouse member is an HOH. Like, wouldn't you be like clinging to Slaughterhouse right now, being like, you guys were so loyal. We're such a good alliance. Like, this is our time to shine. We're rising up. That's exactly true. So Sarah Beth already knew about the Slaughterhouse because Kyland told her, but then Frenchie has also told her about Slaughterhouse. So she got to tell Kyland that in the one-on-one today of like, Frenchie just told me. And then Sarah Beth, just being the loyal teammate that she is, went to her teammates who she knows are in Slaughterhouse because of Kyland. And she was like, Frenchie just told me about this alliance. Now she tells Kyland they play dumb and we're like, oh my God, what? No, we're not. But they now know that Frenchie is like straight up outing their alliance. He's such a mess. Like, what are you doing? Some of the stuff he does is not bad. It's not horrible strategy, but he doesn't have anyone's trust. Like, if you were a trustworthy person, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, totally. French kisses, absolutely. Slaughterhouse, absolutely. Oh, you're not playing the wild card comp? Sure, because you would believe him, but nobody believes him. So that's that. Okay, those are the people throwing him under the bus. DX comes in. Now, his relationship with DX is so weird. Derek X, took you off the block last week, Kyland. You should owe him your life. And I think they're friends, but Kyland doesn't give Derek much time and doesn't really seem to value what Derek says. It's very odd to me and slightly concerning, and I just don't fully understand it. But luckily, Derek did get out because there was more he wanted to say, and Kyland was just like, okay, bye. But he did get to say, Frenchie asked me to use the veto on Alyssa, not you, and I had to beg and fight to take you down. That was me. And I'm just so grateful that he made that very, very clear, because that's what's very important. You can't nominate somebody who fought to take you off the block. Like, you just can't. It's very possible he would not be there. Like, ugh, you know? It was odd. He's like not super like down to work with Derek X, I don't think. Maybe it's the gaslighting, maybe it's, the whole, what all the stuff that Frenchie has put into his head. Maybe that has got Kyland's head a little warped. I'm not really sure. But at least he got that out. Okay, so that was Derek X with Kyland's one-on-one. And then Christian comes in. Oh my God, Christian. I was worried about his health, or I don't know if he ran up the stairs, or maybe just the fact that Kyland's like, okay, your 5 minutes is up. Next person. Like, he's like really like got it going like this. But Christian is out of breath. He cannot breathe. And he's like, okay, yeah. Okay. So road votes. I don't know. I didn't know anything about it. He's like all over the place. He's like Frenchie level. Like, Frenchie's up here. And then like Christian's just like one step behind him. He was like panicked. He was like, like losing his mind. But basically, Christian just adds on to the Frenchie under the bus stuff. He's like, I don't think we can trust Slaughterhouse because Frenchie is like erratic and not trustworthy. Like, I don't know does Slaughterhouse even exist anymore? Like, I don't know. Kyland was trying to be like, well, do you think we could exist without, like, if we just took him out, like, are we still a solid 7? And Christian was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about everyone. He's like, I don't know. DF, Derek Frazier, very close to Frenchie. Christian is saying, like, can we trust Derek F? Like, not sure. I was like, dang, Slaughterhouse is not happy with Frenchie. Like, seriously. They slaughtering themselves. Is that how it works on farms, Frenchie? I don't know. I don't work on a farm. Do the farmers get slaughtered? Is that what's happening here? I'm not really sure. Yeah, Derek X asked for more time, and Kyland was like, yeah, if we can, maybe. But he definitely didn't get extra time. Okay, so after Christian, Hannah came in. Now, this was interesting because Hannah is a part of French Kisses, right? And Kyland knows about French Kisses via Sarah Beth because they tell each other everything. But this was a good way to get information. So Kyland was kind of asking her, like, is there anyone else you're aligned with? And he's like, and I know, alliances are presented and you're kind of forced to say yes. So is there something else you want to tell me? And she was like, yes. She was like, Frenchie came to a group of us girls, and she kind of laid it out exactly how it happened. Obviously, she's not lying. And she was like, I don't need a man to help me and the females make it to the end and hold our hands. And she was like, that's what he presented to us. Like, he wanted all of us females to succeed. So he was going to be the leader of our alliance to like get us there. She was like, no, I don't like his intimidation tactics. And she was like, I certainly don't need to be in an alliance with you. And so she like lays out all that info, making him look like a sketch. And he is a sketch. Icon. Okay. And also Hannah was like, the alliance I'm in is the Cookout. She was like, that's who I'm loyal to. And she was like, naming everyone. And he was like, okay, got it. So honestly, those are the two alliances she's in. So that was all good that she revealed it, because he's basically testing her. And she passed. Then Xavier came in. And then this is when it changed, because we've just been like, Frenchie's a train wreck. Frenchie's a train wreck. And then Xavier comes in, who has, just wanted to play this like laid back game where he's like, I'm not involved in the drama. Like, so he just kind of like nodded along. I was like, I don't have anything to say, all good. And Kyland kind of like hinted of, if there was a troublemaker in our alliance, should I, put him up? Should I backdoor him? Do I give him a chance to play veto? And Xavier was like, I think you give him a chance to play veto. And Kyland said, I do too. And then he was like, oh, I'm not supposed to say anything, because Kyland was really trying not to say anything or answer questions, just get information. But he let it slip that he would like to not backdoor Frenchie, that he would like to put him up straight up as a nom. And Xavier was just like, cool. Yeah. So he wasn't throwing Frenchie under the bus, but he was like agreeing that Frenchie is a difficult person to be in their alliance. So then as he was saying bye to Xavier, he slipped up again. And he was like, yeah, so I think it'll be Frenchie and Brittany. And I was like, oh, you said it. You're not supposed to reveal information, and you said it. And Xavier was like, okay, cool. And he was like, Kyland's like, oh, I said it. Oh, man, dang it. I keep messing up. Oh, no. So, you guys, it sounds like noms are going to be Frenchie and Brittany. But before we get to noms, a couple things do happen. So, even though I think that's what the noms are going to be, because that's what we heard him say, and Brittany is officially the only person he's not in an alliance with, so I understand why she would go up. That might be the noms. But, okay. So, after that, Brent comes in. And Brent, like, this one was annoying, because, like, Brent's not trying to give information. He's definitely not throwing Frenchie under the bus. He's just like, yeah, dude, we're good and cool. And Kyland like had to really pull info out of him and like ask him questions. And Kyland was like, is there anything, like, was there something dramatic that happened? Like, is there something that you want to tell me? And Brent's like, let me think, like something dramatic, like not giving him any information. Kyland like kind of had to break him down. Like, he kept pushing. And then Brent was like, well, I mean, there was like this thing when he like Frenchie walked in and like yelled to Whitney, like, I'm done. And Kyland was like, well, you didn't think that was something that you wanted to tell me? And Brent was like, well, I just like that's Whitney's story, not mine. Like, I just like I heard him say he's done with Slaughterhouse, but like, I wasn't sure if he said I was done with Slaughterhouse. Like, Brent obviously was trying not to reveal information. He did reveal a little bit eventually, but I was hoping that Kyland was able to see, like, you've gotten so much about Frenchie, and then this one person is really not trying to give you information. Like, I was hoping that was a red flag there. It would not up until this point, but this is when Brent comes in. So maybe that made a difference in Kyland's head to see Brent basically trying to protect Frenchie, not reveal information. Then Claire comes in, and Claire, unfortunately, is, even though she has a ton of information to tell him and she has like good sway over him, she couldn't spit it out. You know, we're on a 5-minute time limit. Everyone's like rushing in, spilling information, rushing out. And she like came in and she was like, well, what is it that you want to hear? So I was like, oh my God. So her time basically runs out. The only thing that she does get to say is, I saw, you know, I'm going to mess this up in the wrong order, but basically she's like, I saw Whitney come talk to you, and I saw her run down to Brent, and then Whitney and Brent grabbed Alyssa, and then Alyssa ran to Frenchie, and then so she's like naming people. They're all in the slaughterhouse and saying they scurried here, they got upset, they came up here, they like ran over there, and then. But I was like, you're not giving enough information because Kyland knows they're an alliance, and Kyland knows about this whole rogue vote thing that they were freaking out about. And so unfortunately that wasn't revealing enough, but Claire doesn't know that Kyland's in this group. So yeah, she was straight chilling like a normal one-on-one, but these were not normal one-on-ones. Yeah. Derek literally has that tea to spill. He has so much information. That conversation last night when he was talking stuff out with Claire and Tiff, I was like, dang, Derek, good for you taking that week where you were in trouble and constantly scolded and gaslit left and right. But he really observed and took in the information, and he knows more than he realizes he knows. But he didn't get a chance to say any of it to Kyland. But here we go. Our last one-on-one. You guys, Frenchie didn't even get a one-on-one. Our last one-on-one is Tiffany. So Claire gets shoved out with no real information, and Tiffany walks in. And Tiffany started slow, and so I was a little worried because I was like, oh my God, Claire just didn't do it. Derek X didn't have the time. If you don't get it out, Tiffany, we are in big, big trouble. But we eventually get there, and Tiffany's just like, all right, I'll just say it. She's like, I'll just say it. She's like, do I like Frenchie? Sure, I like him as a person. She's like, but he's erratic. And she's like, you're probably expecting me to say you need to nominate Frenchie. She took a different route, you guys. This is the first one who's not like, yeah, do Frenchie. She says, yeah, he's erratic. She's like, I do think he's a number for me. She says it. And she's like, I don't know your relationship with him, but I do know that he sort of reeled you in last week. She was like, so maybe he's not the one you go after. She was like, but take a page out of his book. If you don't take out the leader, you take out their knights. She phrased it better than that. She called them his knights. She's like, they're a 3-headed snake. Brent and Whitney are like this with Frenchie. She's like, and one of the 3-headed snake has to go this week. She said, you put Brent and Whitney up, and you take, you disarm Frenchie with the army that he's working with. She was very persuasive. Tiffany's a great person who can convince you to do stuff. But this is a brand new take. No one else has mentioned this. He certainly hasn't considered Brent. He certainly hasn't considered Whitney. Like, he thinks he's close with Whitney. So what Kyland says back to this is, oh, and also, wait, before he has a retort, she's talking about that, Brent and Whitney. And then she starts naming basically the other side of the house. If we work together, the kings, the queens, and Derek X. She said, we have the numbers. This is a good, solid team. These are people we should be working with. This is who we need to align with and take out one of the three-headed snake. And then Kyland's response to that was, but what if we worked with Brent and Whitney instead? And I was like, oh dear, I don't think this went into his head at all. But then Tiffany had a great response, and she said, working with a snake is just waiting to get your head bit off. And he's like, okay, I hear you. Okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. I was like, woo, Tiff. Boom. Feeds go down. Noms are happening. Frenchie didn't get up there. Who else? We're missing it. Brittany. Poor Brittany didn't get up there. She's probably about to be a nom, and she didn't even get to talk to him. She was downstairs keeping time for him. Poor thing. She was keeping time for him. And he's probably going to nominate her. Woo! So I would say he was ready to put Frenchie and Brittany up. Then Brent, obviously not giving him info. Then Tiffany swooped in with this take down Brent and Whitney thing. Yeah, no Azza. Azza didn't make it up there. So I don't know if those things changed his mind. I feel like it's either going to be Frenchie and Brittany or maybe Brent and Whitney. I don't think he'll put up Whitney. I don't think he'll do it. He has a good relationship with Whitney. He won't do it. So if Brent was sketchy enough to him, it'll be Frenchie and Brent then. That's the best we can hope for. That somehow it got through his head that Brent is super loyal to Frenchie, which honestly he is, but like he is also sketched out by Frenchie, but he chose to protect Frenchie in that one-on-one. So that's on him. Yep. Frenchie and Brittany or Frenchie and Brent. I think it does sound important to Kyland to not backdoor, to give people a chance to play veto. Brent did say if Frenchie's up, he's probably not going to win veto. Brent's confidence, he's got a lot of it. Yes, Brittany could be the replacement nom, I guess, if he needed one. If he has Frenchie and Brent on the block and one came down and you put Brittany up, she's clearly just a pawn, and you still take out one of the three-headed snake, as Tiffany calls it. Yes, Tiffany, thank you, Lady Di. Tiffany pinned the rogue votes on Whit and Brittany, which was also a new take. Tiffany brought all sorts of new takes to the table here. But she's right she's wrong, and she knows she's wrong because she's one of the rogue votes. She knows it's not Brent and Whitney, but she knows that Frenchie's plan to have the two rogue votes were to pin them on Derek X and Kyland. That's the point that they were doing. Pin it on Derek X and Kyland. Well, whoops, Kyland wins HOH. So she says it was either, these two rogue votes were either to pin on you and Derek X or me and Claire. And she says, either way, it's an attack on our team, which is an attack on you. And she did a lot of understand your place in this house. Where are you positioned in this house? Who's got the power? And how can you sort of manipulate that power to benefit you? Oh, God, Tiffany, so good. I've said it several times. Playing the best game in the house right now. Not sure that putting up Brent and Whitney is the right choice, but just her way of explaining things for Kyland to think about is what's so great. Kyland still needs to make the decisions that work best for him. Like we said, it's probably not putting up Whitney, and he doesn't need to put up Whitney because he is close to her. Oh my gosh. No, I did not. I didn't listen to anything Frenchie said after they came back from the wild card comp because I was listening to everything Kyland was doing. But that would be hilarious if he said he threw the wild card comp. I tweeted out this morning right before the feeds went down for the wild card comp. He walked into the room where Derek X was just sitting and started on just like one of his like tirades and like not making sense. And then he said, I'm done being a puppet. From now on, I'm playing for myself. And I jumped and rewound it because I was like, did he just say he's done being a puppet? And he did. And so I tweeted it out and like, people have been retweeting it because like, what? You're done being a puppet? And sure, I'm sure he threw the comp that he's been like telling everyone he was going to win. Yeah, totally. He also alluded to Sarah Beth that she should throw it to him. She said something like that to Tiffany and Claire, and they were like, wait, did he ask you to throw it? And she was like, he was kind of hinting at it, but then apparently everyone could watch. It wasn't like a private competition. Everyone could watch. And so then there was conversation of like, you can't throw it publicly. Like everyone's watching. So you can't be obviously throwing anything. Frenchie said it. Frenchie said it to DX. And then Frenchie like walks out the door and I should have screenshotted Derek's face because it was like, and he's like, the camera was on him for like probably 2 minutes where he was just like, you could tell he was like, what did I just hear? And like trying to process what is his game? Like, what is he doing? He said, I'm tired of being a puppet. What? It doesn't even make sense sometimes. And like, sometimes I think some of his like manipulation would work on a better player. You know, a Dan certainly walked into rooms and was like, oh man, and like totally lied, right? We've seen it before from some of the greats, but I was just like, oh my God, your delivery, it's just not working, Frenchie. It's so, it's a little embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know if he's a pathological liar or if he literally thinks, oh, if I say this, I'm manipulating them. Because he also will like privately to himself be like, these people are so gullible. And so it makes me think, oh, he just thinks if he says it, people believe it. If it flies out of his mouth, he just assumes they believe it. And unfortunately, you're delusional because they have already clocked you and we are on day 10. Is that what we're on? It's, oh my God. When people throw Herman in there, this slays me. Oh no, not Herman. He does. He does think this is what Twitter wants. He said the other day that we're like the hashtag dadgum is probably all over Twitter. And I was like, no, you've only said it in the DR. And also, we're not hashtagging anything that you say. Yeah, it's a bit of bruised ego. I agree that he was gunning for it and he lost and he's embarrassed. And so, and he gets embarrassed a lot. He says, I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. I know what I'm talking about. Anyone who says that so like passionately is like insecure about how not smart they are. Nope. Ben, you know that I don't really follow former house guests, so I don't know who gets bangs. I don't, but We all do it. All women get bangs at some point. It's just a rite of passage. We all do it. Oh my gosh. Well, can't wait for his exit interview with Julie, you say. I can't believe we might actually have it. When he first became HOH, the first couple days, I was like, oh, he's going to be evicted next week. And then people started to see what he was doing and calling him out for it, but not naming him as a target for this week. So I thought he was going to last just maybe a couple more weeks. Like I still think he's a pre-juror for sure, but I thought, oh, he's going to make it a couple weeks before he really blows up his game. I honestly think had he not turned on the slaughterhouse last night / this morning, he would not be a target today. I don't know what happened, and it's probably because it wasn't on the feeds yesterday. So maybe we'll get some revelations here on Sunday's episode, Wednesday's episode, but steal the house. I can't, like, this is his own doing 100%. One of the worst HOHs, and then he's going to get himself evicted. Like, what is even happening? Agreed. We've had some good feeds. I know I'm missing a lot of your comments, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep up. Caitlin says, I kind of see why Kyland doesn't want to backdoor Frenchie, because even though Frenchie nominated him, he had a chance for veto. Right. And that's so easy. All Kyland has to do is say, you put me up, I got to put you up, my friend. He can even say exactly what Frenchie said. Would Frenchie say something like, I needed a pawn? He could be like, Frenchie, I needed a pawn. You used me, so I'm going to use you. Like, he could just play it off like that. Or he could say, you put me up. I don't know if I can trust you. I'm going to give you a chance to play veto. Like, I mean, he could say almost anything. Yeah, I had a dream. Good one, Sebastian. Yeah, Frenchie, I know exactly what's going on. I'm not stupid. I know exactly what's going on. I'm going up on the block. Kylan will be like, I had a dream where I was going after a big French fish. I don't know. I don't know if Luke says, do you think Frenchie is going to expose Tiffany's vote? I mean, yes, in general, yes. Frenchie's going to expose a crap ton of stuff, especially if he's on the block. But the fact that he hasn't exposed it yet is odd to me. But yes, of course he is. The upside, though, is that Tiffany is in with a lot of people, and a lot of people believe her and trust her. So I think if you look at those two people, one of them is very untrustworthy and one of them is. So even if he does say it's Tiffany, I think most people will be inclined to not believe him and to believe Tiffany. Because Tiffany can just be like, oh boy, wow. Now he's really done it. Oh, me? He's pinning it on me? What? Like, that's all she has to do. And people are like, I know, he's off his rocker. Good point, Ruben. She can expose him even more. She's got stuff. I mean, everyone seems to have stuff they can expose him on. Yeah, you guys all seem to agree. Tiffany is more trustworthy. Yeah, Tiffany is so great with just about everybody. But especially Kylan, they definitely have a nurturing relationship together. A lot of the cookout does. A lot of the cookout looks at Kylan as they call him their son. you know, so they, you know, they love him and support him and, you know, telling him he's doing a great job. And he's like really trying. He's like, I'm trying to do this really well and trying for me to stay calm so that, you know, I don't instill anyone else to panic or anything. Bean, what's my winner pick? I will rarely pick a winner because I will always be wrong. But I can say that Tiffany is killing it right now. She's so smart. She's so good at seeing stuff. And her social game is incredible. So if she can keep this up, I think her odds are good. But you can't call a winner week 2 for sure because so much is going to happen. She could lose her allies, you know. Ooh, Xavier is your winner pick. Interesting. Well, he needs to start playing. I'm not loving Xavier's game right now. He's playing too low key. He's not making choices. He's not like, yes, I'm with this person. No, I'm not with this person. He really wants to like blend into the wall, and that can only last so long. So I need him to like really draw some lines in the sand. Stop touching Alyssa. She told you she doesn't like you. Do not ruin your game for this girl. She is very much with Christian. And if Christian, it doesn't work out, Brent will be her fallback. But I do love to look at Xavier. That's for sure. And unfortunately, Alyssa like talks about Xavier behind his back, and I don't like it. I just don't like it. She's like, I'm creeped out by Xavier. But I mean, like, I also see like Xavier cannot keep his hands off of her. So if she, you know, I would be creeped out by someone who can't stop touching me. I'd be like, ooh, stop touching me. But she loves when Christian touches her. So it's very confusing, I'm sure, for Xavier. But is what it is. I mean, if Frenchie is out, then they can all have showmances. They're all pretending they're not in showmances because of Frenchie. But if they get Frenchie out this week, then they're all going to go to town. No, Ben, the feeds are not back yet. I will let you know when they are. Let's see, what else am I missing? Do you guys have questions that I am missing? Operation No Man's is going to be dead real quick. Yeah, it's so funny that X said, oh man, I do not want to get in a showman's. But it's almost like he knows that he does. So he's like fighting with himself internally. Like, I can't get into a showman's because like he wants it so bad. You know what? We got to get, I don't know Busy's opinion on Frenchie. I haven't heard him since Frenchie, you know, showed us what kind of game he was actually going to play. We got to get Busy and Miranda back over here so we can do a draft update. Busy is winning the draft so far. Kylan's on my team, though. Yay! I got points for that, HOH. Oh, yeah. Travis's exit interviews were interesting because Travis did attempt to blow up Frenchie's game, kind of talking about like the lies that Frenchie, you know, got caught with, can't trust him. But he did it an hour before the eviction. Would have loved to have seen you start doing that on Monday after you were put up. Start planting the seeds about all the things Frenchie did wrong. That would have been awesome. So I'm kind of annoyed that he had pretty decent insight on what was happening, yet didn't do anything about it while he was in the house. You know, to read in an exit interview, like fairly decent view of the house is rare, but it's frustrating because, like, do something about it when you're in the house, please. I would have loved it. But he was like, I just had fun making new friends. It turns out I didn't want to be cutthroat or lie. So I'm like, all right, well, then I guess there's no need for you to stay. Then. Oh, so he didn't. He didn't stay. Right. He gives us all these great reads, and then he's like, and then I'd like to work with Brent and Frenchie. And I'm like, pass, hard pass. Keep going. Keep it moving, buddy. Keep it moving. He was only a threat to Brent because he might take girls away from Brent. That was the only threat that Travis made the guys nervous. I mean, Christian, it was Christian, right? Christian said Alyssa was his type. Brent didn't like that. Frenchie didn't like it. But then they couldn't get Christian out. So they're like, well, Travis is the next guy who will take our girls from us. So he's got to go. I mean, it's like the weirdest reasoning I've ever seen. But meanwhile, Travis has a girlfriend at home and probably wasn't going to get in a showmance, but who knows? Maybe he would have forgot about his girlfriend eventually. Ozza's game is interesting. That's a good question, Shayna. Ozza has a pretty darn good social game. Lots of people like her. And her mind is great. Strategically, she sees things. She can position things and think a few steps ahead. I like the way her brain works. But what's interesting about Ozza is she's an introverted extrovert, which I am. So I kind of relate to her a little bit, where, you know, when you're talking and you're gaming and you're socializing, she has to go into a room by herself and recharge. And she like hit a wall. I think it was Monday where she like couldn't get out of bed for 24 hours or so, to the point that Brent made a comment about how Ozza doesn't ever leave the bed. And she's like, oh my gosh, as soon as anyone clocks that and says anything about it, she's like, I have to work extra hard to make sure that no one is thinking that way about me. She's like, but the reality is I need sleep. Like, I need alone time. And these people, she's like, they stay up late talking, they wake up early and like immediately are on. And that's really hard for her personally, internally. Like, she's struggling with that, which again, I've always thought that about myself. Like, I wouldn't go on Big Brother because that's exactly how I would be. I would snap on people because I just like I need some space. Like, just like, give me a minute, like give me some downtime. So I'm just interested to see how she handles it, because people do love her. And like, especially Tiffany's like, girl, get your sleep. So you sit here and you get your rest and you take care of yourself. You know, don't worry about these people. But Ozza does know, like, she can't do too much of it. She has to be out there. She has to be talking. So, you know, I don't know if it's going to get worse. I'll tell you what, it's going to get worse because Frenchie just moved into the bed next to her and Frenchie doesn't sleep. And he talks all the time. Oh my gosh. When I saw that he was next to her in bed, I was like, this might kill Ozza. Like, she will not be able to come back from this. He will drain her completely. Right. Who was it that said you were Edward? You said you're craving French toast, and now some people are boycotting French toast. But we got some toasted French bread, that's for sure. Nope, I still don't see the feeds are still down. But let's see, they went down like shortly before 4, so they're going to come back very, very soon. So I will probably go ahead and wrap this up so we're ready when these feeds come back. Did I miss any other? Ooh, Lanier Nelson, is that how you pronounce your name? I will tell you. He is a Capricorn. And Capricorns are some of my favorite players. And he is showing me 0 Capricorn qualities. Janelle is a Capricorn. Capricorns are grounded. They think things through. And they like to stay out of, well, I wouldn't say they like to stay out of the drama, but they like to let other people sort of hang themselves. You know, they don't have to be the ones to like hang you. They like to be like, go ahead. Let me see how you're going to mess up your own game. He's not showing me any Capricorn qualities. I don't know what happened. I do not know what happened. I've been saying Brandon a lot on Twitter just because I like to just call him not Frenchie. And I've gotten a lot of like, who are you? Is this Brent? Who are you talking about? His name is Brandon French. So sometimes I just call him Brandon French. I have not listened to their new podcast. I did see Brittany's asking about the Winner Circle with Derek and Cody. I saw that they did one. Good for them. I think that Derek is one of the best players of all time. Not the best, but one of the best. And I get a lot of hate for that, but I will still stand by it. I thought that was interesting because they don't usually like the social media. They both, especially Cody, thinks we're all idiots. So it was odd that they got a podcast, but if anyone's listening to it, let me know how it is. They've definitely both played the game and both won it. So they've got good insight, I'm sure. Vanessa and Danielle, the 2 best players to never win. Absolutely. I don't know if that's a joke or not, but it made me laugh. All right, you guys. Hi, Amber. Congratulations. Everyone say congratulations to Amber. She's pregnant and she's my cousin. So everyone tell her congratulations. Yes, we love Danielle Reyes. I did a podcast with Danielle Reyes on Busy's channel, and that was a highlight of my life. Such a good time. Tyler should be on that list. That is some real talk. Should be on that list. That's right. All right, you guys. Feed should be back soon. I think we're either going to see Frenchie or Brittany, but could be Frenchie and Brent. So let's see who got in his head, if anyone could. And then obviously we're going to have a veto, which makes things always so exciting. I will be back on Monday to talk about the Sunday night episode. David will be with me, and then we will talk about all the live feed spoilers over the weekend, including the veto. So guys, thank you so much for joining me live in the chat. I appreciate all of your insight. And if you're joining me later, leave a comment, please. Tell me how you feel about this new HOH. How are you going to feel about these noms? I'm excited. All right, you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you later. Bye.